Welcome to the Call to Harmony, where we explore the inner journey to oneness with self, others, and the divine. Okay, we are back, everyone, for another episode, and we are going to be talking about and discussing ways to practice and find harmony when we're maybe in some very intense emotions or highly intense situations or circumstances that maybe some of you have already experienced or are currently experiencing or may experience in the future. But I think this is maybe one of the most challenging of the situations to practice harmony in, because our emotions can be so loud and overwhelming. So it can be hard to maybe quiet down and find and practice harmony. But that's what we're going to dig into. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why we're digging into it is because this is what's happening right here, right now. We're recording this on September 12th, and we're in Utah. We're in Utah Valley. Savannah's in Orem, and that means that it was 2 days ago that there was a shooting at UVU campus, and Savannah had just left the campus, um, and so really intense week.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been teaching. I've been with teenagers all week and watching them react to Charlie Kirk's shooting and the videos that they saw. Like when like the day it happened, I remember we were sitting in class and one of the students gets a text and then somebody says there's a video, and then somebody came into the class and showed his friend. He was like, "Have you seen the video?" And then people start seeing the video before we even really knew what we were watching. And for the rest of the week, the kids that saw the video, whenever you brought it up, they would just kind of pause, and you could see it still affecting them from the inside. And Savannah, tell us more about what it's been like for you.
Yeah, I think it's been a wild week in a lot of ways. And I think there's been kind of a roller coaster of emotions. I obviously, luckily, was not on the campus. I had left just like 30 minutes prior, but I think similar things are happening for me. I think that there's a lot of people that are being affected by this on different levels, right? There are people who were there and saw firsthand what was going on and had all of the emotions that go on with being that close to violence and to something so scary that you never really think you'll be a part of, right? And then there's people who were in the building and had to be locked down and weren't quite at the event, but were close enough that they had to get to a secure, safe space. Then there's the people who were seeing things like your students, watching things come out on social media and seeing all the conversations, the videos, and the footage of what had happened. And again, I wasn't there firsthand, but it's been interesting to see how this event has affected me in different ways, not just the event itself, but the way that people around me are now talking about it and the interactions that I'm having with other individuals and the conversations that are being had about the event feel intense emotionally to me as well. So I think that it's just going to be affecting a lot of us in different ways, whether we were there or we weren't. I think all of us will have a response and some level of interaction with what had happened on Wednesday. So,
Yeah, and it's been, to add to that, it's been kind of a shattering moment for a lot of us that live in Utah Valley. It's always felt like the safest place on earth to me. And like a bubble, a shelter. And people tease about it being Happy Valley. They call it Happy Valley in jest, right? But it hasn't felt that way for the last few days. And all of a sudden it rocks you. And so how do we, when things like this happen, deal with the unexpected, the surprise element? All of us will have multiple moments in our life where something that was completely unexpected hits us, and we're left probably reeling and wondering, how to cope, how to move forward. And in this podcast, specifically, we talk about how do we practice harmony? How do we come from a place that is open to the totality of the experiences that are arising rather than trying to find peace in our lives by running or avoiding or escaping or changing our circumstances? How do we accept our circumstances when our circumstances are so dramatic that it doesn't seem possible to accept them?
Mm. Yeah.
That's where we're coming from, and those are some of the questions that we're asking right now. And I imagine people that are listening to this far in the future might be thinking, well, that one's in the distant past, but there have been fresh things that have happened since then, either for them individually or for us collectively, because we just don't know the future. And so we're going to be faced with this over and over. How do I practice? How do I lean into harmony? How do I lean toward peace when it seems like it's not on the table?
Mhm.
All right, so go ahead and answer those questions for Savannah.
That's your job.
No.
I will say, though, I think this is another we've had an episode prior where we've talked about trauma and, that there is a time to seek professional help, and I think we'll just do another plug for that now, especially with what had happened just a few days ago with the Charlie Kirk shooting, that this is a very reasonable time to seek some professional help, as you are maybe navigating some of the intensity of what had happened and the emotions and the way that it impacted you or people around you. There are a lot of resources, and there's hotlines. 988 is a great number to call. There's other resources around. So I just want to plug for professional help is also when you feel like it feels impossible to find peace or to make sense of the things that are going on, especially with what just happened, that seeking professional help can be a great resource and a great way to try and process and deal with a lot of the emotions that have come up with events like this. So,
Absolutely, and hopefully we're getting past that mentality of like, "No, I can just do this all on my own."
mm,
We need each other, we need outside perspectives, we need help, and there's nothing wrong with us, using this divine gift of each other and professional help to work through things. In fact,
yeah.
it's we're so much better together than we can ever be on our own, right? We all have
Mhm.
our needs. So Savannah, as we think about this, and oftentimes when there is a dramatic moment, our body, our nervous system just takes over and is like, all right, we are going into fight or flight mode
Yeah.
or freeze mode. And it can be really difficult and dramatic. It can be beyond difficult because we can feel like we're completely out of control. That this is beyond our ability to handle, and that's why our body has these responses to help us survive, to help us get through moments that seem like they're life or death moments.
Yeah.
Um, and what comes up for you, like, uh, what is helpful for you when you come to these moments where it feels like it's too much?
Mm. Yeah, I think just based off of what you were just saying, I think a lot of the times, well, the way we talk about some of this too, the fight or flight, right? Or freeze, whatever the response might be to an event or to certain circumstances, right? Our body will react, like you're saying, to protect ourselves. But there's something called the window of tolerance where there's this like middle section where it's like our ability to manage and cope and deal with whatever's going on, right? Like our regulatory system is working really well, but there are times where we go into hyperarousal or hypoarousal. And I think understanding that, like, so that's kind of like the fight or flight, right? Or even the freeze can be is the hypoarousal where it's like our functioning becomes very low and we might, right, not be as activated. Whereas the hyperarousal, right, might be some more intense feelings, adrenaline, different things going on in our body. And I think what's coming up for me is identifying, okay, where are you falling in this window of tolerance? Are you becoming hyper aroused and things are getting more activated and escalated for you? Or is your body responding in a way where you kind of shut down and your systems are no longer really doing anything, right? And I think depending on where you are will affect the way that you choose to do things next, right? Like if you're hypo aroused, if you are shut down, doing things that engage your senses and right, doing somatic things with your body can kind of help arouse you to a point where you could get back into that middle section. And same with the hyper arousal if you're, escalated and feeling a lot in your body, doing things to kind of ground you and calm you down, whether it's a breathing exercise or standing barefoot in the grass or whatever it might be, right? I think that recognizing where you are at in on that scale can be helpful as far as like, okay, what do I do next, right? Like how do I even manage what my body is just naturally responding with? There's different things depending on where you are within your window of tolerance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and, that's super helpful. And I think it's implied in there that we recognize that we're in those states, right?
Yeah.
Usually we don't. Usually
Sure.
we just go into the reaction.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like there's any recognition or awareness or choice because the nervous system just boom takes us somewhere.
Yeah.
And it might take us a little while to like wake up to, oh yeah, I am not these feelings, I am not these thoughts. I'm having an experience and there's opportunity for choice here.
Yeah.
And once we get there and we're able to watch what's going on, take a
Mm,
perspective with it, then maybe we can um, make some choices that are going to help us
sure.
cope and move forward. So, what if we talk about that for a little bit?
Mm,
One of the reasons why um, practicing harmony, practicing stillness, practicing these things is so helpful is that it helps us develop that ability to watch ourselves rather than just life living us as we are a series of reactions to external stimuli.
yeah.
We can start to wake up and be more aware of what's going on around us. So that's one of the reasons why, a consistent practice of these things, it might shorten the length of time that you're in that nervous system response where you're just reacting. And it could
Sure.
also just really empower you to take the off ramps from those um, mechanical responses.
Hmm.
So this is a challenging space because I think every day I find, Savannah, that I'm in a mechanical mode. I think this week when things got pretty emotional and intense, I got just carried into it like it was a river that was sweeping me downstream. And
Yeah.
it took me a little while to be like, "Oh, yeah, I can, like, practice harmony in this situation." And, so it's not a time to beat yourself up because that's just gonna intensify it, right?
Yeah.
But when we do wake up to the awareness that, "Oh, yeah, there's something I can do to seek harmony even in the most intense moments." Um, for you, Savannah, where where does that lead for you? Like, when you're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm seeing reactions around me, or I'm seeing myself caught up in something." What for you is the very first thing that you do to help you move toward harmony?
Intentional or unintentional, because my body just starts to cry,
Yeah.
which is what happened. I was in a very public space when things started to feel more heightened for me, and I just, like all it took was someone to look at me and say, "Are you okay?" And the floodworks just came, and so I think that was part of what happened, but when I was removed from that situation and when I was like, "Holy cow, like, I am just overwhelmed right now." I really just took time to, like, let myself feel all of it. I cried, I maybe said some choice words, I did whatever I felt like I needed to maybe release things that were feeling very big and loud and heavy inside of my body. And again, I think my body naturally had a way to do that. But I had to slow down. I had to like put my phone away. I had to just like be with myself. And that's literally what I did. And obviously the waves came and went the rest of that day and have since then. But in in the most recent, right, intensity event and moment that I had this week with what happened, um, that's what I did. I don't know how intentional it was though. It just kind of happened and I just went with it.
Well, it sounds like the crying kind of happened, and
Yeah.
then you noticed the crying helped you become more aware of, "Oh, I need to feel something here."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that even unintentional response created a window where you could be intentional to
Sure.
process it. And
Yeah.
what you just shared about just took some time to feel it, that is so beautiful, and
Mhm.
that is so courageous, right? Because. Man, situations like this where you see all these emotions around you and you start to feel them in your body, our brain will usually want to escape, right? Want to buffer, want to do something else
Yeah.
other than feel it. So,
Mhm.
how have you developed the courage to be able to feel your feelings?
I don't know. I think I've pushed feelings down for a long time, and I still do to some degree, but I think that I've realized they get worse the more you push them down. So, I think I had to and I also again think unintentionally my body just could not like hold it in, like handle it. And again, I think from other experiences of knowing when I push it down, right, it doesn't help, but this felt too big to push down. This felt like it just was making its way out. And there was anger, there was sadness, there was fear, there was hurt, there was, yeah, just a lot of different things happening all at once. And I think that I couldn't I couldn't ignore it. I had to sit with it. I also was in a ar, so I had to, like, get myself to a place where I could drive home.
Yeah,
And I didn't know how else to do that but to sit there and wait till I could get something out. So,
yeah. So there's a lot of wisdom in what you're saying here. I know that sometimes when I even try to sit with my feelings,
mm,
and they're really intense like they were this week, sometimes my mind won't really want to let me do that, and so I'll start to sit with my feelings, start to feel it, and all of a sudden my mind will start telling a story about whose fault this is, or what needs to change in the world, or
yeah.
what's wrong with me or others that causes this. And so when you find yourself going back into your mind,
Mhm.
as Michael Singer says, the mind is where the soul goes to hide from the heart,
Mm,
right? That's the reaction I often find is like back in my thoughts, back in battle mode, back in trying to change everything around me. What do you do to come back, to come out of that, so you don't just get caught in these vicious spirals of anger, emotion that aren't helping us toward healing and
yeah.
harmony?
Well, I think literally from this experience that I just had, when I finally feel like I sat with it to a point where I felt physically safe to drive home. Obviously, as I'm driving, then, like you're saying, my mind came in. My mind started going, the thoughts, the judgments, all the things about what was happening, what people around me were saying, how I felt about it, and how I was trying to make sense of all of it. And it just worked me up again, right? Like by the time I
Mm.
got home, I was back into my emotions, and I had to, again, there was more crying. And there was, like, another moment of, like, I just had to be still. I had to, like, again, set aside things that were pulling me back into my head, which at that time was my phone because of text conversations, social media, right? All of these voices in this device that I had to, like, put away so that I could just sit with myself and try and process what I was even feeling and trying to get away from some of the. 'Cause I even recognized that some of my thoughts that were then going on were not thoughts that I wanted to have or feelings that I wanted to feel towards certain people, and I wanted to try and get to a place where I was more in tune with maybe my heart instead of just what my mind was trying to do to make sense.
Yeah.
This all sounds like it flowed so naturally. It did not.
Yeah. And
It was messy, and there was probably other thing. I had picked up a friend, I had taken a friend home. There was things that were happening simultaneously, right? Some distraction to some degree, communicating to, like, my husband about what was going on and different things, but there were small moments where I had to just, like, sit with myself and
yeah.
try and calm down in some sense to get more into my heart rather than racing in my thoughts.
Yeah, I think how you've been describing it, of it coming in waves, is so real, so true to my experience.
Mm,
That when really difficult things happen, it doesn't all hit at once, but sometimes there's an initial hit, there's an initial, nervous system reaction, and then the waves start, right? And sometimes the first wave isn't the biggest.
yeah,
But what you're explaining to us is being aware of the waves, and then when you do have the presence of mind to sit with it and allow that wave to pass, and just recognize that there are probably going to be more waves and waves and waves, and depending on the severity or the how close the situation is to you and the involvement of other people, it could happen for a long time.
yeah,
But the fundamental thing that you're like teaching us here is just be aware of it, and when the waves come, as soon as you're able to wake up to the fact that something's overtaking you,
mhm,
let's slow down and sit with it and let the wave pass through.
yeah,
There is a incredible resilience that we have when we do what Savannah is teaching us. There's this incredible capacity to hold even extreme situations when we learn to slow down, when we learn to feel our feelings, when we learn to have patience with ourselves. Um, and maybe even I'll just put out a practice that I do sometimes when my feelings are really intense. We've done a net practice episode here. There's an acronym that I use that just tweaks it a little bit, and I call it NEWT.
mm,
When my emotions are super, super intense, I'll add so NET, just a quick review, stands for notice and name your feelings, and then embody, so get into your body rather than into your mind and feel physical sensations. And then the W is to watch the waves. And what that looks like is I say to myself, man, I'm feeling intense sadness in my belly. And right now it's an 8 out of 10. And I'm okay to sit with it. And I might even assert that my higher power can sit with me, is here with me. Um, Whatever your higher power is, right? I might say, well, Christ is with me, or God is with me, or the divine is with me, or my loved ones that have passed away are with me, or whatever I need to. That helps ground me and help me feel not alone in the moment. And then I'll stay in that W part of the practice as the wave rises, peaks, and subsides.
mhm,
So I might be, after I say that once through, I might come back and say, I'm feeling intense sadness and I'm feeling it in my belly, and it's a 9 out of 10. And I'm okay to sit with it, and Christ will sit with me. And I might take a big breath and breathe right into that area where I'm feeling it, and then say, I'm feeling intense sadness in my belly. It's an 8 out of 10. And then I'll just go through it again. I'm okay to sit with it, and Christ will sit with me, and breathe into it. Then it's a 7. And sometimes it goes 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 8, 10, 10, 10, 9,
mm,
8, 7, 6. And then some of the waves come, but the more that I'm able to stay with it, stay present, and feel it in my body, the more of it is able to flow through rather than get caught, trapped, creating something that I suppress, push down, and that taints my way of seeing myself and others in life. Um, so that's a practice. Maybe that's a practice we can take people through here at the end of our podcast today. But I want to hear from you. Any other thoughts that you feel like might be helpful for people that are really in the intensity of emotions?
I think sometimes this is uh, maybe sometimes it feels really hard, or if you've not been practicing these things or meditated or done grounding things, some of this stuff that we've been talking about, trying to really get in tune with yourself. Sometimes talking to someone who just feels safe can be helpful, whether that's a parent, a sibling, a friend, coworker, whoever it might be, right? But to have someone that feels safe, that you can just, whether it's express some of these emotions or these feelings or thoughts or whatever it might be, I think that can be a helpful way to, like, maybe bring some of the heightening down, where you can get to a place where then you can kind of just work and do some of the inner work that we're talking about here, and noticing and watching what's going on for you. I don't know if that's the best solution, but I think that is part of, again, I think something that can be so helpful as we are experiencing very intense emotions and feelings. And sometimes that overwhelm can be too much. And sometimes we might just need someone to sit with us, right? And maybe you don't even
Yeah,
have to talk. Maybe it's just sitting with someone that feels safe to you, that can be grounding to some degree, um, as they're just there and present with you as you're experiencing
absolutely.
these waves.
Yeah, very wise. And so, a couple weeks ago, we did an episode. Maybe it was last week. We did an episode about consulting our wise mind.
Mm,
And in a moment like this of intense emotion, you might pause and ask your wise mind, "What do I need right now?" And let that wise mind direct you to a person or to a practice or to slowing down or to feeling. Um, and know that there is that part of you, that wise mind, that is beyond and able to hold all of this. It might be hard to access. And then you might be trying to talk to wise mind and getting nothing because the emotions are so high. But we would just say be patient with yourself and trust that this moment, as intense as it is, will not last forever. And you also have greater capacity than you can usually sense and access in these intense moments.
mm,
And so sitting with it, slowing down, talking to somebody can help you come back into touch with that those wiser, more resilient, eternal parts of us that can hold it all.
yeah. Hmm.
It is
Everyone take a
simultaneous.
deep breath.
Yeah, everybody take a deep breath. That reminds me of watching Inside Out 2. Have you seen that
Great movie.
movie?
Great. Of course I have. I
Yeah.
love anxiety exists in me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So relatable, wasn't it?
Mhm.
And I remember sitting that in the theater with my kids, and when the anxiety attack happens in the movie, I did what you and I just did, just instinctively, just
I think I did as well.
yeah, yeah. It's like, trying to help the character on the screen breathe,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And, um, there's a part of our system that when we get in high intensity situations, automatically gets us breathing faster, our heart pumping faster as well, and our breathing becomes more shallow, and it's unconscious breathing.
Mm,
But if you can just take that unconscious breathing and turn it into conscious breathing, and if there's nothing else you can do in the moment other than just pay attention that I'm breathing right now, and I
mhm.
can feel the air coming in and the air going out, that actually helps send a message to your body that, hey, there's a part of me that is okay, and you were not in a life or death situation. We can come down from this, and we actually need to, so that we can have all the resources we need to process this
Yeah.
and move forward. So, really simple thing, hard to remember, but it might come to the point where eventually you just start breathing deep in a conversation. I I do that with friends all the time. I don't know if it annoys them, but when they share things with me that's super intense, I'll just be like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And, it's just part of something that, that it's a gift, the gift of breath that can bring us
Mm.
back to renewal and grounding in the moment, so
Yeah.
alright. Savannah, should we wrap up with the practice?
Let's do it. Of course.
Okay. This is a practice that we can all do together right now, or it's something that you can come back to if you're in a really intense moment in life and the emotions are high and you feel like you need companionship. And I know this is just a recording, but our hearts go out to you. This life dishes out some really painful things. Um, but you can process this. You can get through this. And this can be one practice that you can try among many tools that have been given to us to work through difficult things.
Mhm.
And Savannah and I, we're not going to need to imagine being another place another time. We can take the emotions that we've got right here, right now, and work with them. Um, but if you're not in a place of intensity right now, you might think of a time when you were, when the emotions were really high, so that you can, to some degree, experience that. And maybe if it's so intense that it's traumatic level, like Savannah's said in the past, maybe not try this on your own at first. Maybe work with something where the intensity is maybe 6 out of 10 max on a scale of intensity, and, if you need, professional help working through traumatic things, go for that first, and then use this for, emotions once you've kind of got grounded that way. Does that sound okay,
Yeah.
Savannah?
That sounds good.
So, let's, move into the practice. We'll invite you to close your eyes if you'd like to close your eyes, or if not, if that's not as comfortable, you can just soften your gaze and focus on a certain point in front of you. And we're just going to do a newt practice together. And so just take a second to settle in your body. Let's take a few conscious breaths, purposely slowing and deepening your breathing. And on the out breath, relaxing into your body. Just notice the sensation of the air coming in through your mouth or nose and the natural relaxation that happens in the body as you breathe out. And then just notice as we start with the N in the acronym NEWT, notice and name what feelings and emotions are present in your body. We might say it in a way that gives us some distance or detachment from it, like anger is here, or sadness is here, or stress is here, or anxiety is here. And as you name the feelings, maybe even name where they're occurring in your body, where they're coming up for you. And this isn't an effort to get rid of the emotions, it's actually to embrace and allow the emotions. Let the waves come over you. Let yourself feel it. And as we move into the embody portion, this we'll transition there by noticing where it is in your body, and then we'll just breathe into the area around that feeling, that emotion, giving it space, letting it know that it's okay to be there. And relaxing any tension or resistance that might be around that intense feeling. And just gently notice any parts of your body where the feeling isn't as intense. And breathe into those parts of your body as well. Just coming to a greater awareness of being embodied as a whole, having having maybe some increased presence and awareness move through your body. And then let's go to the W part of this, the watch portion. And just give your emotion, your feeling, a number on a scale of 1 to 10. And maybe repeat in your mind, I am feeling this feeling at blank out of 10, and give it out a number. And then you can assert to yourself, I'm okay to sit with it. I'm okay to feel it. And then call on your higher power to sit with you. And breathe into the feeling again. Relax, allow it to be. Allow it to pass fully through your body. And let's do it again. I am feeling, name your feeling. Give it a number out of 10. And I'm okay to sit with it. And I'm not alone, as my higher power can sit with me. Take a deep breath, relax, lower all resistance to it. Say again to yourself, I am feeling this. Give it a number out of 10. I'm okay to sit with it. My higher power can sit with me. Breathe into it. And you see the pattern here. Feel free to pause and keep in this pattern of naming the feeling. Give it a number out of 10, asserting that you're okay to sit with it and your higher power can sit with you. And just watch the rise, the peak, and the fall of the wave or waves as they come. And then the T, as it does in the net practice, stands for take a step toward your values. And think of a core value that you really feel is deeply meaningful to you. Whatever it is, kindness, compassion, love, sincerity, authenticity, whatever a core value is for you that really helps you live a meaningful, value-based life. And just lean into that value and assert to yourself that as you open your eyes at the end of this practice, you can live that more fully right here, right now. And go ahead when you're ready, open your eyes, and we'll finish up. And that's just a simple practice to help you navigate difficult emotions, challenging emotions, and move toward living into your values. Sometimes in those times of intensity and emotion, we kind of lose direction. We kind of lose, okay, what is going on? What am I doing here? And we don't have to solve things. But right here, right now, we can always pick something that's deep and meaningful to us, a value, and seek to embody it a little bit more deeply in this moment. And it gives us immediate direction and purpose. So, Savannah, thanks so much for this conversation today. Thanks for sharing your experience and the practice. Anything to add as we finish up?
No, I think that was perfect. A great way to end. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And thank you, Tucker, for guiding us.
You bet. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
See ya. Thank you for listening, and we hope you will join us next time on The Call to Harmony.